do 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 do. Yeah,
It's
we
so stupid.
guys, we don't have the Philosopher's Stone, but maybe you do.
Yeah, maybe POV, you're Harry Potter. You've looked in the mirror of Erised.
You whipped it out of your pocket.
Yeah, your mirror self pulled it out. Anyway, hi, welcome to Steph and Anja's Media Review, where we review literally anything. Welcome to our episode on Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Hence
Woo!
the intro.
Yeah, hopefully it was up to standard. Maybe.
Par for the course for you and me, I think.
I think so too. But we should
Now,
probably jump straight
yeah, I was
into
going to
it.
say, let's get into it.
Yeah, Steph, tell me about your relationship with Harry Potter, the series, the books, the movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So, I mean, I feel like I've kind of had like a bit of an interesting relationship with Harry Potter because I was fully obsessed with the books, like as they were coming out. As more so the movies, I think as they were coming out, the books had kind of already released by the time I got into them.
Yeah.
Um, but I did see both Deathly Hallows in cinemas, which was really cool. I think that was really like, I guess in hindsight, it's kind of the start of like having that kind of cinematic experience. At least it was for me.
Yeah.
Similar to like your Spider-Man No Way Homes and whatnot. But yeah, I was fully obsessed with them. I made all my friends be obsessed with Harry Potter. Steph Law is I used to get everyone to play Harry Potter at lunchtime in primary school, and it would be like the thing that I always talked about. I wrote fan fiction for it. Good luck finding any of it. I was a massive fan. And then yeah, I guess obviously the books and movies kind of finished when I was like 10 or 11 ish. But then obviously people still talked about them. So there was like a real fandom space for it. Obviously, you look at all the fanfic that's been published for it.
There's a lot.
But then you kind of find out about J.K. Rowling's certain thoughts and opinions on certain things,
Yeah.
which to me personally put a bit of a to say it put a bit of a damper on how I felt about Harry Potter was a bit of an understatement. Um, I think also like learning more about some of the criticisms that people have with it, namely, for example, like the goblins being Jewish stereotypes, characters straight up being named Cho Chang. Like,
Yeah.
that's not, like, I think it's important we address it up the top and then be silly afterwards. But I mean, yeah, wanted to be clear that we don't agree with J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
Harry Potter is just for fun. And that there are definitely things to criticize in the books, definitely some strange ways of characterizing people. But ultimately, I think it's important to talk about it as a whole and not just focus on the positives or the negatives. So I'm kind of coming at it from like a bit of a nostalgic point of view, but also with a bit of a critical lens as well. I think
Yeah.
looking at it wholeheartedly is really important. So yeah, that's me. How about
Yeah.
yourself?
Well, I was late to the Harry Potter game, I'd say, because like I did pick it up when everyone else picked it up, 10 to 12 ish, but
Mm.
obviously I'm a lot younger, so obviously late to the game. Deathly Hallows already released before I even started watching the movies. I've only gotten to halfway through the fourth book. I have not read the whole series. So I loved the movies. Still do love the movies. Like I
Yeah.
just rewatched the whole series recently. Like there is a great world. The world building I think
Mm.
is like insane. And you like to like separate yourself, and it's like a magical place, and it's like all these new things happen. So I do love that. I have definitely dipped my all my toes into the fan fiction. um,
Your whole foot.
maybe both my legs, and I've all gone to neck height, you know, but
Yeah.
not written any, but definitely read a lot of fan fiction. It's kind of bad, but it's fine. But yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, Steph, like not agreeing with J.K. Rowling, with her thoughts. Um, but I like to separate the creator from the world, because I think it's the world's so exciting and there's so many things that, you know, so many like good things people can get out of it, and it's
Mm.
just sad that prejudice and stuff has plagued it a bit. But
Totally.
but
Totally.
yeah, that's all I've got to say on that, I guess. But I do really like majority of the world.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Again, I think it's important, listeners, for us to kind of come into it and acknowledge that, yes, there is definitely a lot to criticize, but um, I hope that we've addressed it and that we can kind of talk about the stuff that we do enjoy, because obviously Harry Potter meant a lot of things to a lot of people. There's a reason that it's so popular
Yeah.
and that it had such a strong grip on you know, kids growing up at that time, because yeah, I think it's the story. Oh, I don't know who described it like this. It was like Harry Potter is the story of a boy who finds out that he gets to have all this magical power, and it's really exciting that he has magic. But that power is ultimately secondary to the love that he finds from his friends. And I
Oh.
think that's like such a core message and core part of the series,
Yeah.
that when you're looking at what J.K. Rowling is saying, it does get lost,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's what we'll say on that.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need to really do like a recap. I feel like everyone knows what Harry Potter is.
We could
If you
probably
don't,
yeah.
have you been living under a rock?
Yeah. We could probably do like the quickest recap ever
For
of
sure.
Philosopher's Stone. So Harry, little boy,
Yeah.
you know, no parents, they're dead. He lives with his auntie and
They got
uncle.
murdered.
Yeah, they did. He lives with his auntie and uncle. Unfortunately, he sleeps under the stairs because they don't like him. They don't like how his mother was magic. Ill, gross. Turns to Harry's 11th birthday. Wow, he also is magical because, you know, he got his cousin locked with a snake at a zoo exhibit. That was funny. Anyway,
You're a wizard, Harry.
you're a
That's
wizard,
the
Harry.
line.
Hagrid comes along, whips him away, takes him to get school supplies, and he starts school. Yay!
Yeah.
He befriends Ron and Hermione, which are his best friends, the Golden Trio. They stick together the whole way through, and I lost
And they
my
just
train
have
of thought.
wacky adventures.
They do. They like notice lots of things, have
Yeah,
fun.
there's a huge mystery. I mean, for Philosopher's Stone specifically,
Mm.
there's a mystery because someone's trying to break into Hogwarts and trying to steal something that Hagrid picked up for Dumbledore. Dumbledore is the headmaster, in case you didn't know.
Yes.
Um, and so ultimately, the first book is a lot of them trying to solve this mystery about who is trying to steal something and what is that thing.
Yeah.
And it all culminates in it being Voldemort, the man who killed his parents. Surprise, what a twist.
And the Philosopher's Stone, which we already knew
The
because it was in
Philosopher's
the
Stone is a
title.
thing. Yes.
But
Yes.
yes, the trio investigate. They uncover lots of challenges and puzzles in the final parts of the book and the movie to like get to where the Philosopher's Stone is, and it ends in this battle between Harry and um Voldemort, who is like possessing slash like partaking bodies with Professor Quirrell. I don't know how to say
His,
it.
yeah, parasitic relationship in that he is on the back of this poor man's head. I say
Yes.
poor man. I believe Quirrell did choose to have Voldemort on his head, so
Yeah.
power to him, I guess.
But yes, Harry, with the guidance of Dumbledore, with the love of his mother and her sacrifice, and his
Yep.
own bravery, he defeats Voldemort with his touch.
Voldemort tries to choke him out. He says, "No, sir."
He says, "Stop it! I don't like it."
And then he passes out, and Voldemort is gone,
Yeah,
and Quirrell is dead.
Yeah, that's the best probably like little summary we could give you.
Yeah, and then he goes home back to the relatives that don't like him for the summer, and that's where the book ends.
Yeah, pretty depressing
Done.
actually. Why would you
It
send
is.
him back
You know what? It's actually really sad.
Yeah,
There's a reason for it, but not in this book.
true. That is true. But yeah, that's that's all I gotta
Yeah.
say.
Now, I know that you rewatched all the movies recently.
Yes.
Was there anything that you picked up when you watched Philosopher's Stone again? How long had it been since you'd last seen it, and how did you feel about it
Probably would have been
now?
a couple years.
Mm.
And through my rewatch, I like in the back of my mind kind of knew, but like it was actually really pointed out to me this time, sorry, how it like starts off so light and happy like in the first movie, and it
Yeah.
progressively gets darker and like more
Mhm.
like, and I'm like, oh my god, because like I didn't like because I didn't grow up watching the movies. I watched them all like not
At once, basically.
basically
Or
watch
like,
them all at once, but like
yeah.
the movies like grew up with the audience.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
I didn't realize it till this watch through, and I was like, oh my god, that's so cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
actually, like, if you were to just watch like the first one and the last one, like the difference is crazy.
Yeah.
The last one is so like desaturated. It's all grays and greens. Like, not to talk about like filmmaking and like video stuff for a second, but
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's a really interesting choice. I'm not 100% sure if it was a conscious choice or if it's maybe like because they had different filmmakers work on a few of the different Harry Potter movies. So
Yeah.
obviously, Chris Columbus was the director for this first one and for the second one as well. And then, oh my God, what's his name? Um, anyway, they had a different director for, I believe it was the sixth, seventh, and eighth movies. And he's also the guy that did Fantastic Beasts.
Okay.
So I think maybe it comes down to different filmmaking styles as well.
Yeah.
But I do agree that it is a really interesting choice for it to go from really light. I feel like the first one I watch like on Christmas, like it's a Christmas movie
It
kind
so
of.
is. It so is.
Because it's like it does have like Christmas is like a substantial part of it.
Yeah.
Whereas like even though I know in the books like there is Christmas as an element of each and every year. Obviously, Harry has like a bit of complicated feelings about Christmas because he has no family.
Mm.
But I don't think it's ever really addressed as much as it was in the first one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is an interesting choice for it to get darker as each movie goes on. Even down to like the Warner Brothers logo as
Yeah.
well. Someone
It like
pointed out to me.
darkens.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's crazy, but I love it. I do love it.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
besides that, I don't know. I kind of just like realized that I definitely obviously I like the latest ones, like the new like the later
Yeah.
movies better. But I also like them better because the characters are older and they have more issues than just like Draco's mean.
Yeah, I know. Draco Malfoy is a bully.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm like I like having
Yeah.
like more aspects to like each
Yeah, I
character and
agree.
stuff. But no, I still do like the first movie, but I kind of like
Yeah, I think there's something so cute about the first couple.
yeah, but I watched the first two movies to get to the third movie where I can see Draco's parted hair, okay?
Real. The third movie is the best one. I'll say that.
Like who can't
In
say
my
no
mind.
to Hermione punching Draco in the face, okay?
I mean, and that's where Drapple originated.
Yes. Exactly.
We'll get to the third one at some point, I'm sure.
Yes. But yeah, I
But
definitely
yes.
yeah. That's kind of like how I feel. It's like the first one's good, but like you watch it to get to the later movies, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
Mm.
Um, because I watched it a couple of days ago, and I was like, oh my god, there's so
Oh,
little.
they're so
Like,
small.
I feel like because especially because I kind of know Daniel Radcliffe outside of being Harry Potter now, in like a really funny sort of way. Like I feel like he's a more established actor, and I see him as Daniel Radcliffe rather than, oh, that's the guy who played Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, oh my god, where are the adults in this school? Why is no one helping them?
It's so funny you say that though, because when I see Daniel Radcliffe in anything else, I'm just like, why is Harry Potter not wearing glasses?
Why is
And
Harry Potter here?
why is he? Because like he was in Now You See Me Too, and like when I was watching that, I was like, I just can't unsee Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I've
fair.
watched Emma Watson in Beauty and the Beast, and like I believed she was Belle, but like with
Yeah.
Daniel Radcliffe, I was like, why is Harry Potter here?
I feel like, to be fair to Emma Watson, like Belle and Hermione are very similar characters.
That's true.
So
They
it was
are.
probably not a stretch to not see them as the same.
That's true. That's very true. But you get where I'm coming from, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
do.
Like, yeah, I struggled. I was like, wow. Yeah. And then I see the memes on TikTok where the people are like, yeah, Daniel Radcliffe has that Harry Potter money. That's why he can play crazy, weird
He can
parts
just do
on
whatever he
theatre
wants.
stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Oh my
yeah.
god. Yeah.
But
But
you know,
yeah, so I was
you
going
go.
to say, let's maybe chat on the cast because I feel like outside of like the kids, it's a pretty stacked
It
cast.
is.
Like I I think it's such a good shout to get like parents and like just general adults not invested because I'm sure they were already aware of what Harry Potter was kind of at that point,
Yeah.
but just on like yeah, some of the casting choices you obviously had you know Dame
Alan
Maggie
Rickman.
Smith
Oh,
as yeah,
yeah.
Dame Maggie Smith, Alan Rickman,
Yeah.
like I feel like those are the two big ones,
They are
like
the big
they were
ones.
already really, really established actors and were
Yeah.
kind of just doing it because they felt like it was a good fit or they could see that this was something really quite special and it was going to be quite big.
Yeah.
Because obviously by the time that this first movie had come out, the first Harry Potter book was only what 2-3 years old.
Yeah,
It
something
hadn't
like that.
really been around that long, so I'm sure, and I mean I'm sure we will see it, that the hype can only grow.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that they kind of got people involved basically from the start,
Yeah.
with really the only recast being Albus Dumbledore because unfortunately the original one passed away.
Oh.
And he's like, honestly, it's such a shame because he is who I picture like when I think of Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Like the one from the first two movies, like power to Michael Gambon, who
Mm.
played him for 3 through to 8.
Yeah.
But no, that original Dumbledore, he was something else.
It was something else, but you know, I feel bad saying it, but like although it is like it's good as well, but like first and second movie, and then moving to third and fourth, and etc.
Mm.
I like don't see the difference.
No,
I'm like, they're Dumbledore.
I kind of agree. I'm just like, oh, cool, that's Dumbledore. He's just wearing his beard differently. Like,
Yeah.
I do agree. I think, I mean, and again, when we cover the later movies, we'll get there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I think Michael Gambon played, I almost said Grumbledore, Dumbledore a bit more aggressively,
Yeah.
where I think it was needed though.
Probably.
I don't know if the original one. I would have been curious to see how the original would have portrayed it, but
Maybe he would have
obviously we have what we have.
asked Harry if he put his name in the Goblet of Fire more calmly.
Calmly, yeah.
Sorry, that's a
Yep.
fourth movie joke. We'll get there.
Fourth movie joke. I'm sure we'll make it again.
Yes.
But
No,
yes, so outside of those really established actors, you obviously have the child actors, all of which who do seem to be doing like a fantastic job in this movie. Like if we talk specifically, I think the direction of it was really good.
Yeah.
We've already said Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson. Oh my God, what's Ron's name? Oh my
Rupert
God,
Grint.
Rupert Grint. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, King.
It's
uh,
okay, he doesn't act anymore.
um, yeah, exactly. He's living his best life.
Yeah.
You obviously also have James and Oliver Phelps, who play the Weasley twins.
Yeah.
You have Tom Felton as Draco Malfoy. Like, I think each of the kids were really, really solid in the characters they play.
I think so
And I just
too.
wanted to touch on kind of the casting process just
Yes.
quickly,
Please.
because that is it's such a phenomenon, I feel like. I
Yeah.
don't feel like we'd ever see something like this again, like now,
Yeah.
because obviously the books were huge, were pretty big at this point. And when they announced that they were going to do the movies, they basically had open casting. They were willing to cast pretty much anyone who rocked up and they thought could do a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Obviously, it would have been a really long-term thing, right? Like 7, 8, they didn't know they were going to split the 7th book into multiple parts, but obviously the books were still coming out. So they didn't know how many books there were going to be. So it's kind of a long-term thing without like a specific end date. So basically kids from all over Britain, I assume like ditched school
Yeah.
and,
I absolutely did.
attended auditions, and it was a pretty, from all accounts, it sounds like it was a pretty strenuous audition process. And then obviously they eventually narrowed it down to who they ended up casting. And I think it's really cool that the actual like trio did get to do like a screen test together before they were officially cast. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it was just kind of the thing, if you were the right age for it, or if you were the right age for any of the characters, you could rock up and be like, I want to audition for, I don't know, Percy Weasley.
Yeah.
And you could just do it.
I
So
kind of like wish there was like an Australian Harry Potter
yeah.
thing, just
I used
so
to wish that
Steph,
too.
imagine if we rocked up to an audition and got in, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
would be so
Oh my
good.
gosh.
No,
But I wanted to say they ended up casting Daniel Radcliffe, and people speculate that it's because his parents were quite particular about not leaving him alone with random adults in the crew, or they were very particular and very protective of him,
yeah.
which I think, looking at some of the other child actors, you look at, like your Nickelodeon
Yeah.
comes to mind. It's a bit of like a tangent, but I think there is speculation that because his parents were so protective, they were like, we love to see that. You're Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Obviously, he did a great job as well.
He definitely did. Well, the one thing else I want to touch on with casting is their choice to only hire British and Irish actors. I thought that was so interesting because a lot nowadays they love getting that star cast, whatever
Yes.
nationality they are, whatever accent they have, to like change their accent. And I thought that was so, I don't know, good that they're like, no, it's British book. Let's have people from like here audition.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like that's such a British thing, where I think the opposite, where they would just cast like an A-list celebrity, is such an American thing.
Yeah.
Not to stereotype, but
it is true. Like in all American made movies and stuff, want to always have the A-listers, the big names, and Harry Potter was like, no, we want normal kids.
yeah,
Like,
because we want kids to relate to the kids that they're seeing on screen. If they've seen them in another movie, might be a bit harder to relate to, I assume.
Yeah. So, and imagine as well, like all the kids are like a year before this came out, or maybe 2 years, but saw like, because we can get into this a little bit, but like for the audition process, they were going to schools giving out flyers and stuff saying, come audition for Harry Potter. So imagine the kids like seeing that they could have been Harry Potter, and then they can see like, wow, my friend got to be in Harry Potter. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
Like, I just imagine
Like,
that.
I was going to say, this is kind of, again, a bit of a side tangent, but I'm pretty sure Zoella was in Philosopher's Stone. She was in like the potion scene.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure it's been years since I've watched anyone from like the British like vlogging community, but I seem to recall that
Oh,
being said. So
man, am I gonna
fun
have to
fact.
rewatch again just to spot her?
I don't know if she's in the scene, to be fair, but I remember her saying she filmed for it.
Okay, interesting. I like it.
Mm.
Picasso.
Picasso.
But yeah, no, I think the casting was really interesting overall. Like, and
Yeah.
already like then, even then, we can cut back to marketing later, but already then, that's already marketing for the movie. They're going to so many schools. Like, then kids are going, "What is Harry Potter?" They're all
Yeah.
learning about Harry Potter. The name, the brand is being spread even further. Like, that's insane on its own, just from the casting, because they
Yes.
did a big open casting.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
Because we haven't talked about the book yet.
No.
No. So I thought I'd have a few little things to talk about the book, like how many editions of Philosopher's Stone there are. There's a lot. I
Yeah.
counted, and this might not be accurate, my count, because I just counted off like the wiki and I was counting all the different pictures they had of all the editions. So it could be wrong, but it's still a lot. So there's 16 English language versions. There are 12 translations with 48 alternate translation covers. There's 8 illustrated versions with languages, and then there's 8 different covers for the 20th anniversary books.
Oh my
All
god.
for the first book.
Yeah, first book only.
First book only. Like, that's insane. So I had to point that out.
Yeah. Love.
Absolutely
That's
insane.
insane.
And I know there's collectors out there, and I'm sorry for your bookshelves.
Yeah. Ooh.
Oops. But yeah, we also have to point out the obvious, that the book was released in America as the Sorcerer's Stone
Yes.
and not the Philosopher's Stone. But it wasn't just America. I've read it was also the Philippines and somewhere else that I don't remember. But there's 3 places it was released
Yeah.
under Sorcerer's Stone and not Philosopher's, because
Yeah.
the term was not like well known.
Yeah, they didn't know what a philosopher was, I guess.
Yeah.
They knew what a sorcerer was.
Yeah, but I thought that was
Anyway,
interesting. A few interesting little facts I found.
yeah, so I just wanted to touch on a bit of development for the book, which I think is already like, yeah, again, a pretty well known fact already. Um, so it's kind of stated that she basically wrote the idea down on like a napkin as
Mm.
she was like looking for, I think it was like a flat to live. She was like apartment hunting. Um, and she was just like scribbling down the idea, just like I think she described it as a scrawny little black-haired bespectacled boy became more and more of a wizard to me. I began to write Philosopher's Stone that very evening, although the first couple of pages look nothing like the finished product. So
Damn.
there is that. And then I think what kind of causes a lot of that to change as she's developing the idea is her mother passed away. J.K. Rowling's mother passed away.
Oh.
And so a lot of it sounds like a lot of her grief was kind of painted onto Harry. And
Yeah.
like he suddenly became like an orphan because she was obviously dealing with her own stuff and thought that it would be a good outlet, I suppose, to
Yeah.
kind of get it on the page. Um, she also tried to sell the finished product to a myriad of publishers, with Bloomsbury eventually taking her up after like several rejections.
Wow.
They paid her a whopping 2.5k pounds in advance. So,
Wow.
and it's also the reason that they call her J.K. Rowling is that it sounded like a more masculine
Man.
name. So,
I was gonna say
mm,
those other
interesting.
publishers would be kicking themselves.
Surely, right? Like it's so popular.
Yeah. They would have
And
been
then
thinking of all the money they could have made.
they could have made exactly. Um, but yes, that's kind of the development, and then it was obviously eventually pushed out. I have seen a couple of critiques, and I think this is maybe a good segue into general marketing,
Yeah.
but that apparently the first book was marketed quite messily. It was kind of originally pushed out to just like very select like bookstores,
Yeah.
libraries, booksellers. And it was kind of, the idea was meant to get comments on the book before releasing it a bit more broadly.
Yeah.
But it kind of like, some books had Joanne on them, some books were JK. Like, yeah, it sounds like it was a bit of a mess, but you
Yeah,
know
no,
what?
'cause
It worked out, I think, ultimately.
it did. No, because from what I read as well, I was like, the publishers pretty much just put the books in stores and like that's all
Mm.
I. They were like, yeah, it
And
was
just hope
word
for
of
the best.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was word of mouth that really sold it. It wasn't really
Yes.
anything else from that
Yeah.
standpoint. Yeah.
I have a quote. I don't have the name, I'm sorry. But they said that marketing executives, um, for the early Harry Potter books, and especially Philosopher's Stone, um, marketing executives were advised to be less preoccupied with rigorous statistical analyses and the analysis, planning, and implementation model of management. And this person recommended that they should treat the stories as a marketing masterclass full of enticing products and brand names, and kind of listed the Birdie Bots every flavored beans, and like the chocolate frogs that actually leap out of the packaging, like.
Yeah.
um but clearly it sounds like the actual executives who were potentially helping JK release the book, it's not super clear, were a bit more focused on like, how do we release this in like a full funnel approach, like.
Yeah. It seemed like they
So
almost weren't too bothered about marketing it, to be honest. They were just like, it's a book.
yeah,
Like,
get
if
it out
she got
there. Yeah.
rejected by so many publishers, they probably weren't that sold on it either.
Listen, as my dad, this is a fun Steph law, is my dad actually wrote and had a company publish his book, but he's basically had to do bulk of the marketing himself. So I can only imagine what it was like in like 1998, where
Yeah.
social media was not a thing yet, and they were like, "Oh, just chuck them anywhere."
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. But the film has slightly more interesting,
Yes.
yes, marketing, slightly. The most interesting thing I found was that Rowling actually requested that the Harry Potter image not be used in the marketing,
Mm.
which I thought was like,
Mm.
wow. Like obviously like
Yeah.
they have trailers and stuff, but but sorry, I hit my headphones. We're fine. But yeah, that the Harry Potter image not be used. I guess maybe like the picture from the illustration from the book or something like that. But
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, totally. I
Yeah.
think that original book cover is such a I feel like everyone associates it. Even me just saying like, oh, that one book cover, the
Yeah.
original one. It's like, I feel like we can all picture Harry standing in front of like the Hogwarts Express. Like
Yeah.
that's the image. So
Yeah.
yeah, super interesting that she requested it not be used at all.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of trailers, the first trailer kind of revealed it's a teaser trailer, right? So it's
Yeah.
not revealing a whole lot. Um, but as they kind of kept releasing these minuscule little trailers, they revealed really the true magic behind the movie.
Yeah.
They show off the Quidditch, and people flying on broomsticks, and the moving stairs of the castle and how the castle appears. And even the snitch, like Quidditch is such a big part, I found, of like the trailers, which is really interesting to me, because I feel like in the later movies, Quidditch is dropped almost entirely.
I literally don't even
But
see it in the, like.
no, but
Oh
it's such a
wow.
huge part of, I think, establishing kind of the core difference in this magical world compared to like our non-magical world
Yeah.
almost. So I can understand it being such a huge part. And from what I remember of the books, it's also a really huge part of, you know, Harry's school life in general. So makes
Hmm.
sense, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. I was gonna say, on other things besides the trailers, they
Mm.
had like newspapers publishing exclusive photos of, I think, like the sets and like the set, or like of images of the movie before it came out, to like build hype, which I thought was really interesting. But they also had like a Coca-Cola tie-in. I didn't
Yes.
like continue researching it, but apparently it was like very controversial and like yeah. But that built a lot of interest and hype around Harry Potter as well.
Yeah.
This first movie was this Coca-Cola like partnership
Like
thing.
integration, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Which
weird.
it was weird. Like I was like, really, Coca-Cola? Because like I've not seen
Yeah.
anything of that, but I was like, oh, okay, strange.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess also speaking of general products, sorry, I know I'm jumping around a little bit,
that's
but
okay.
I thought it would be worth mentioning toys and just general miscellaneous products that were produced off the back of the movie.
Yeah.
So Mattel, obviously we all know Mattel, Barbie, whatnot.
Yes.
They won the rights to produce toys for the movie, um, which was sold exclusively via Warner Brothers stores. And then it looks like Hasbro also produced like a lot of the confectionery stuff. So yeah, your Bertie Bott's beans, um, chocolate frogs, like anything that's basically like on the trolley from the train.
Yeah.
That was produced by Hasbro.
Love it. They also had like lots of posters released as well around that time. There was lots of
Mm-hmm.
interviews being had. Where was websites made, computer games, and also
Yes.
general merchandising, as we were talking about. But yeah, they had a lot going on.
Yeah.
They had a lot.
Yeah. Again, the series was pretty like established at this point. I think
Mm,
a lot of people had read Harry Potter and were kind of excited to see it, whether you were a child or an adult. So
yeah.
it makes sense that they could push a little more budget, I would assume, into making very tangible objects, and
Yeah.
so like toys and like things that are actually from the movie, um, to kind of be like, look, you too are a wizard.
Yeah. I was just gonna say though, it's the book's strong identity, like the
Mhm.
brand itself, the Harry Potter
Yes,
brand.
agreed.
That's what drove the marketing for this movie, like 100%, was that people like
Exactly.
word of mouth, but then it's just the brand itself. Everyone was Harry Potter, yes, we'll watch it. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
agreed. Everyone knew what Harry Potter was at that point, and they were able to just kind of piggyback off the back of that.
Exactly. But I think that's all the notes I had for marketing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, me too.
Might be time to move on to our favorite segment.
Favorite segment.
It's fan fiction. And today I think I've brought a fun little fic that
Hmm.
um like I bought it because it begins from like year one. So it's like, you know, oh, it doesn't
From
begin
the
from year
start.
one. I lie. It begins from year three, but
But it's a journey through the ages.
it's a journey through the ages, and it grows up with the series, like we grow up with kind of with the series. I
Exactly.
thought it was nostalgic, okay?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It is a Hermione fic, which, hot take alert, alert, Steph isn't a fan of anymore.
Okay. I was telling Anya this off off the record.
Yeah.
um but so I feel like I used to be really into Hermione. Like feel like it should be my bread and butter.
Yeah.
However,
It's just
I
not.
cracked open AO3 and I was not feeling it. And I was like, okay, like, I don't know, fic's pretty well written and it is like a fun concept. I don't
Yeah.
know why I'm not feeling it. Let me take a look at another Dramini fic. No, it did nothing for me, unfortunately.
It's so
Um,
sad.
I fear, and I do fear it is because I skew more towards Drarry, which is Draco and Harry, in case you didn't know. Um, I don't know, something about those two. They got something going on.
They got something going on.
You know what? Actually, it is because I think the last time I interacted with Harry Potter was when I saw Cursed Child, like back in 2021 or something.
Yeah.
Um, and something about seeing grown up Draco and Harry and them still having beef. I was like,
That
but like something kind of unspoken. I was kind of like, I'm
that's
about it.
that's fair. Because I also went and saw Cursed Child, and I get it. I do see it, but
Okay.
I also kind of shipped their kids, so
Yeah.
I can't do both. Okay.
No, it's weird.
It's too weird for me. But yes.
That whole like show is weird. Voldemort has
Although
a daughter.
I did love the visual effects though. It was great.
Yes, that's true. Maybe we'll have a separate podcast on Cursed Child.
We could, but yeah, no, the Voldemort child thing, that was weird.
Get that out of here.
Yeah, I did not want to see
Anyway,
that.
yeah. So yeah, I'm not anti Dramini, but I'm just ambivalent
You're
about
just
it.
off the train at the moment. You might hop back on
Exactly.
soon.
Exactly. I've stopped off at Hogsmeade and I haven't gotten on to
You're
get back to Hogwarts.
just having a little butterbeer, okay? Having a little tea
Yeah.
break. You're good. Enjoy your time off. It's okay.
Thank you.
No, but I did bring along this fic. It's called The Library Truce. It's by
Mm-hmm.
Sweat Sarah Real Pants.
Yeah,
I think,
sure.
yes, sure.
I think
Yep.
so.
And the summary goes like this. At the back of the library, near the restricted section, there was a tiny alcove. In that alcove, there was a small table with two chairs. It was here that Draco Malfoy and Hermione Granger came to unspoken truce. So, pretty much, this fic goes through the years, third year to eighth. I can't remember. I can't remember
Yeah,
if it's
the
eighth
weird
year.
8th year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
eighth year. But they go through the years. They study in silence. Because like they both like this spot, and they started out in like not studying when they were each other were there. But then one day in third year, they were like, stuff it. We're gonna
Why
study
not?
together.
Yeah.
We're gonna study in silence, whatever. But then as like their years go on, they kind of tweak on to when they're off or whatever, and they start kind of like building this relationship. Kind of a likeness is growing. Draco gifts Hermione presents, etc. And it all comes to a head, like it gets to like the war and stuff, and then it gets to the end with eighth year trying to rebuild relationships, and Hermione's a bit scarred from, Bellatrix, scarring her arm, and Draco didn't do
Literally.
anything, and it's like becomes this whole reconciliation thing, comes like making apologies, forgiving each other, and all that. So I thought it was really sweet. I thought,
Yeah.
there's lots of parts to the story, and that's why I bought it. I just thought it was nice.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always a sucker, I feel, for fics that kind of take you through the ages and you can really see the development, because I think that is such a core part of Harry Potter as a series, is
Yeah.
you do get to see the kids grow up and become scarred and horribly traumatized.
Yes.
um and I mean, we'll, again, separate podcast, but I do think that that's maybe why the epilogue rubbed a lot of people the wrong way,
Oh.
is because you don't really get to see the culmination of what happens after the war. It's just like a massive time skip and they're all suddenly
Old and
fixed
ugly.
and adults. Yeah. Well, I didn't say that.
But you thought it. Everyone thinks it.
Oh. But yes. So I do love a good 8th year fic as well, where it's like people resolve their issues. And this one is quite well written. So
Yes.
highly recommend.
Yes.
Even if you're not a Hermione reader.
No, it was just good, you know, like it was just like
Yeah.
I don't know, I love a good fic where they have their issues, they have to solve it, and it's not just they're in the
Yes.
8th year and everything's better. It's like, well,
And everything's fine. Yeah.
yeah, it's not better, it's not fine. You know, people have
Yes.
PTSD, there's trauma, there's all these things.
Yeah.
You know, you need to make up
Exactly.
for it, and I think this fic did it really well. So that's why I brought
Yeah,
it
I
here
agree.
today. So check it out. I
Yeah.
reckon it's worth a read.
Slay.
Slay. But I think that brings us to the end of the episode. So Steph, final thoughts.
Final thoughts is Harry Potter is a mega beast, and the first book / movie, I'm like, I feel very protective over Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and all the kids. Really, I'm like, I almost said, "Where are your parents?" No, that's a core part of the series.
No.
We know where Harry's parents are.
In the graves.
But I thought it was really interesting to kind of explore like differences between the book and the movie marketing, because obviously the movie came a few years afterwards and was, as we said, a lot more established as a brand. So I thought it was really interesting, that kind of core difference between the two.
Yeah. My final thoughts. I love the series, love the world. I think it was really cool to like read how it all began, I guess, how people started learning about it. How everyone
Yeah.
like obviously everyone falls in love with the story for a reason, but learning how they got to the story I think is really cool. And I'm still in deep with the fan fiction, so help me escape, please.
So true. I don't, if someone can help Anya and I out of the hole that we have dug for ourselves,
It is very deep.
we can't help each other.
No, we bring each other further down. We add more shovels.
We've got our shovels. We're digging.
Yep, and we're just gonna keep going down the hole, but it's fine. But that does wrap us up. So, well, we hope you liked this episode.
Yeah.
If you can leave a like, leave a comment, leave a rating, leave a Q&A, that would be amazing. We love reading all those. They're really, really great. Tell us tell us anything. What's your favorite character? It doesn't have to be from Harry Potter. It can just be any character.
Yeah, just your favorite character in general.
Yeah.
Tell us what's the hot juicy goss at your work.
Oh, that would be
We'd love to
interesting.
know.
We like juicy goss.
We do.
We're so bad. But yeah, leave a recommendation as well. We take recommendations, we put them in our list, and we do them. So keep an eye out for those. But yeah, we also have an Instagram. We have a TikTok. We sometimes post. We try our best. But keep an eye out for those. Steph and Anja's movie review on all one word. You can find us there. And I think that's it.
Yeah. So if nothing else, outro.